Hi guys, catmasterOP here. In today's video, I want to show you how I make my YouTube thumbnails because as a New Year's resolution, I decided I want to make more content that shows you how to be better at real life, at content creation, and at Path of Exile. And there's a lot of content creators that make awesome content but could use some better thumbnails. All you need is 2 freeware programs and about 5 or 10 minutes of your time. Hi guys, my name is catmasterOP. I stream Path of Exile every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 4:20 CET on my stream at twitch.tv/catmasterOP. And today I want to talk a little bit about how I make the thumbnails for my YouTube videos. Really nothing exciting, like I don't think my YouTube videos have really big thumbnails, but they are really low effort. I don't put a lot of time into the thumbnails. I usually make them while I'm rendering the video or uploading it within a couple of minutes. So what I use for these is Paintnet for the pixel editing, which is a freeware program with which you can edit images. I use the BoltBait plugin pack. This is important because there's like some things that are not in Paint.net where you need plugins. So this is the plugin pack that I use. It's very well documented and explained. I'll link all of these in the comments down below. And last but certainly not least, the most excellent open source vector editing program, Inkscape. Inkscape is excellent. We'll start from scratch. Normally, obviously, I don't start from scratch. I just use one of my old thumbnails and adjust it. How I usually start is I have Inkscape open. I go into document properties of my new document, and we're gonna go adjust the size. So we go units, pixels. For YouTube videos, you want 1280 pixels wide and 720 high. What I also do is, because I really don't like the white background, I don't think it's eye friendly at all, I go with the background color black. As long as the opacity is set to 0, as long as the transparency channel is on full transparent, you won't see any of this background when you export. Maybe not black, because then it doesn't contrast versus black, but something like dark grayish, excellent to work on. This is basically it. You can work with layers, you can work without layers. I personally prefer to work with layers so that I can't move certain things, that I can lock layers when I'm done working on something. So this is just, we'll call this header. Layers are basically like groups of elements within your project. So we use the text thing, we draw a text thing here, yeah. And then important is you need to open text and font up here. Shift-Control T, I just saw. And that gives you the font menu, right? And here you can enter which text you want. You could also enter it here directly, but then when you click here and click around, then you may lose focus and whatnot. So I always use this. How I make my YouTube thumbnails. Apply. So I don't know how big I usually go, but I usually use Fonten, which is the Path of Exile font. If you just click down here on the colors, you can just click to change the color of the element that is selected. If you use shift click, you change the color of the stroke rather than the fill. This is how I want that, but this is obviously way too small. I don't know what usually I use in terms of font size. So let's just check out one of my older thumbnails. Yeah, this is 76.8. Actually, I scaled it up a little bit. Let's say 76.8, just for the sake of making it uniform, right? How I make my YouTube thumbnails? Does thumbnails fit there? No. How I make my YouTube thumbnails for free with free software. It's just a little bit too big. You know what's better clickbait is in 5 to 10 min. What I do here is I use the align menu, right? You go align and distribute, Shift-Control A, and you can select this, align it relative to the page, and then you center it. Easy clap. You go filters, shadows and glows, drop shadow. I think 10 is what I use as well on my videos. All you can see here is there's like a little bit of a shadow. And what I do is I apply this several times. I press it like 2 or 3 times, and that way I apply more than just one shadow, and you just see it better. It contrasts versus the background. You have the white letters and you have a black shadow, so no matter which color your background is, you produce a nice line of contrast on the edges of these letters. And then we go with like a background picture. For the background picture, obviously for this video, I'd say we go with my YouTube thumbnails. Print screen. You press print screen on your keyboard. That's how I do it. You can use the snipping tool, which comes with Windows, which is this little buddy here, where you can just press new and you can just select an area of the screen, screenshot this, and then Control-C, Control-V into your Paint.net. So as you can see, all we need really is the uploads here, right? We just go pick this part of the page, and I make sure that I lock the header right now. So I make a new layer and I call this background, right? I created it above the current ones, open the layer menu, and make sure that the background is below the header. Make sure to select the layer that's actually open for editing. In order to see the border color, make it red and show the border on top of the drawing. So this way you can always see where your images align. So I can put the subscribe button in the top right as a little reminder. And then we lock the background so we don't select the background accidentally by clicking around. And we unlock the header, and what I'd like to do here is just shift this a little bit to the left so that there's more space here. What you can also do, if you think that you don't want to have community channels and all that shit go through here and you want to have it a little bit more readable, what I like to do is I make just an ellipse with a black fill. Wait, of course you have to unlock the background in order to be able to draw the ellipse like this. And then you go into fill menu, which should be Control-Shift-F for fill and stroke. And here you can up the blur and then just go really blurry on that ellipse. So you get like a nice black-ish background here. Obviously you don't need that if you already have the drop shadow. Sometimes I use that on like Path of Exile screenshots because it just makes the header easier to read. But it's not necessary. I mean, obviously you can read it just quite well, or you could also make it weaker by going down with the opacity. Just have like a little bit of a blacked out corner so that there's a higher contrast between the letters and the thing. So, and no YouTube thumbnail is complete without a picture, right? So what I usually do is I use my OBS. This is just my OBS I run on my gaming PC, which sends over the camera image and all the other stuff to the streaming PC via NDI. This is something I can talk about in a separate video. If you guys want me to, let me know in the comments down below. And what I usually do is I just start the recording for a couple of seconds and pose nicely on the thing, and like like that. Open that in VLC. I'm gonna screenshot off of the video. Right? Just gonna full screen that. That's okay, right? And here I use my snipping tool. I check snipping tool, new, and then we just pick whatever we need of the picture. Edit that in Paint.net again. Here we go. And there's sadly no green screen thing, so I just go with the flooding tool and I just pick out the background. Right? Make sure that you pick something where it's important to pick a color value where the outline aligns well with your outline, right? We don't really want to have additional work like selecting things. It doesn't really matter because the thumbnail is really tiny, but people will see the quality, right? And then I remove the rest of that like this. It's really easy to find spots that you haven't removed by using the selection tool and reducing the tolerance to 0. You only want this to be on global when you want to be able to select things that are not connected to your main thing. But I actually use this on local. Never mind. So like this, you can see the more tolerance, the bigger the selection. Like that, cut out this a little. And then I use the eraser tool with a nice brush width, hardness on 100. Also switch off anti-alias, because otherwise this creates half transparent pixels is what I want to say. Just make sure that there's no like single lonely pixels around. And then, as you can see down here, there's, for example, still some things. So I'm gonna erase them away. Make sure that what you want to erase is in your selection. If you use the selection tool to identify what's not in the selection, like this, right? And you see these, you obviously can't erase these because they're not part of your selection. You're just erasing in your selection. Make sure to press CTRL A to select everything, or just CTRL D to drop your selection. Just make sure that you got everything. This is about all right. And another thing that I like to do with these, because we completely avoided half transparent pixels here, right? And that's for a reason, because I want to select all of this, right? And now, as you can see, the selection is around everything. If you put global here, right, it's around everything that's not part of the image. There is some tiny pixels here that need to go still. Clean up the pixels. Pixels are important to clean up. So when you see the selection is clean, selection is nice, you can go edit and invert the selection. This way, everything that's not white, completely transparent, is now selected. And now I can use one of the filters from the Bolt Bait plugin pack. I go selection and go feather selection. And that way, everything that is selected will be nicely feathered in like this, right? No, I don't go 10, I go like 2. Just for a nice smooth edge around my selection. And so it takes away a little bit of the green from the green screen. And then Ctrl C for copy, and we put that into a new layer here. Cat, we just paste the thing here. Obviously there's like no contrast whatsoever. So what we do is we double this, go trace bitmap, and then you get this nice little pop-up here where you can trace your bitmap. You can go live preview, and I go threshold value 996. That's the exact value that you need in order to make sure that you get the perfect silhouette of anything that has a transparent background. And you go, okay. And the program automatically creates a vector shape of my image, which I can, use to color in. So what do I do with this? I go path, outset. So this is a little bit thicker, and I put it right behind my image for a nice thick white outline. Now, sometimes I use different colors for this. Sometimes I want to blur it like this for a nice shine. But for this video, I think this is actually perfect. Now, what you can do in order to further increase the contrast is you can go and double this again, and you can outset it again, and you can make it black and blur it a little bit. And that way you can put it in the background and you get an even bigger contrast between the white and the white outline and the background. Really nice, right? Because this just pops out a lot more than it normally does. And obviously what I want as well, I want to use the images. Let's get the Inkscape logo, copy image. Wow, look, this looks great. Oh man, this is good. Trace bitmap, okay, we got that. And then we make it white. We go path outset, and we put that here. And then Paint.net logo. I just Google Paint.net logo. And there we got it already. And put that here as well. Make it about the same size. Now sadly, that doesn't have a transparent background, but we can work with this, right? Doesn't need to be super. And you can rotate it a little bit here, right? You can rotate this one a little bit. Honestly, this one I would probably group. And now you probably noticed that I didn't make a new layer. This is still in the cat layer. So if you want to be organizationally good, you probably want to make a new layer. And we double these up and make the same thing happen with the outline again. So outset, go down a little bit and blur it up. So you got a nice contrast. And then with this one, we want to trace the bitmap. I mean, it's a little bit lazy, right? It's just a square, but outset, blur a little bit, go down. And that's basically it. When you're done with the thumbnail, you want to export it. First of all, of course, you save it. You want to export it by pressing export PNG image. Make sure you select the page as the export area. it should automatically have the right width and height. For some reason it doesn't, so you just go 1280, or because the DPI was set to higher than 96, and then you select an output file where you want to put it, save, and it's not saved yet. You need to press the export button and it will export, and then it's done. How do I make my YouTube thumbnails in 5 to 10 minutes? Again, I stream every day, well, every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, but usually more. Those are just the fixed times. 4:20 Central European summertime or wintertime, depending on the time of the year. I'm looking forward to seeing you all over there, and I wish you a wonderful day. Happy content creating, guys.